What's up, NBA fans? Dom2K on the mic, and let's go ahead and have some fun today with a topic that should get a lot of people going because I got a lot of good things to say about it. And as you can tell from the title, today we're going to be discussing whether or not injuries are a legitimate excuse in the NBA. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the answer seems clear, but not when you look into how people talk about it. So the minute you bring up injuries in the NBA, no matter what it is you're talking about, you're immediately met with all the cliche sayings. Oh, next man up, there's no such thing as excuses in basketball, all these type of things. The main thing is that people say you're making excuses if you bring up injuries. However, when you look at the talk amongst fans, that's clearly not the case, and that's not how people really feel. I think since we're in the midst of one of the most injury-riddled rivalries in NBA history, it makes sense to talk about the Cavaliers and Warriors because this is where it most applies to. So don't take this next part wrong if you're a Warriors or Cavaliers fan, but I feel like there's a bit of hypocrisy going on in how both fan bases are talking about the last two finals. Because if you're really paying attention, both sides are saying that injuries are the reason that they lost their respective final series. However, both sides are also saying you're making excuses if you use that as a reason, so I'm not sure how to really feel about that. Let's go ahead and rewind the clock back to the year 2015 when the Warriors and Cavaliers rivalry got underway. So in 2015, they had one healthy matchup in the regular season in which the Cavaliers won. This was a little bit of an appetizer for a final series that was supposed to be extremely epic. However, by the time we got there, Kevin Love had to miss it with a dislocated shoulder injury he sustained in the first round against the Boston Celtics. So people figured this was still going to be an epic final series. You know what? Whatever. LeBron James is still there. You're going to get to see Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry play against each other. This is going to be amazing. And game one was nothing short of amazing because it was pretty much a close contested match all the way out. Despite missing Kevin Love, the Cavaliers were holding their own and they gave themselves a great chance to win game one. But we all know how that story ended. Kyrie Irving got injured on a freak accident running into Klay Thompson's knee and he's out for the rest of the series. From that moment on, this is a different series because now LeBron James doesn't have another reliable offensive player or just another reliable consistent player to go to in an NBA Finals series, and that's pretty tough to deal with. I think if you're being unbiased, you can tell that no matter which side you're on or how you feel, having Kyrie Irving in that series would have made a difference. You didn't even have to have Kevin Love. Just having Kyrie to take some of the pressure off LeBron would have made all the difference in the world. Instead, Dellavedova had to take his place and he gave all the effort he could, but that did not change the fact that LeBron James still had to do absolutely everything from scoring to rebounding to defense to making the plays, and he did the best he could. I think we all kind of agree that the Cavaliers got farther than they were supposed to in that series. So the series ends in 6, Golden State wins the championship, and right from the moment that they hoist the trophy, you already start hearing the rumblings. There's no way that the Golden State Warriors would have been able to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers if they were healthy, because the fact that Cleveland was able to push them 6 games with just LeBron meant to everybody that Kyrie and Love would have been able to make the difference and that would have ended differently. And although that sounds like an excuse, and that's exactly what that's met with, people say stop making excuses, what happened, injuries happen to every team. No matter how much of an excuse that sounds like, there is no denying that Dellavedova is a significant downgrade from Kyrie Irving, and Tristan Thompson is a pretty significant downgrade on the offensive end, at least from Kevin Love. So fast forward to the 2016 year we just finished, and this is where things get really interesting because the Warriors have obviously gotten a lot better from that final series to try and defend their title and try to prove that they would have won either way. And the reason this gets interesting is because when both teams were healthy throughout that year, Golden State just completely dominated them by the numbers. It's not even an opinion, just go look at the numbers. So if you start from the Christmas Day game and you go to the NBA Finals game where Andrew Bogut got hurt, which was game 5, Golden State was winning every match by an average of 20 points per game. The matches they did win is what I'm saying. The matches that Golden State won, they won by an average of 20 points per game when you do the math. That is pretty incredible. Even if you wanted to say, well, Kyrie Irving wasn't healthy during the regular season, he was coming back from the knee injury and he was on minute restriction. Okay, so drop the Martin Luther King game and the Christmas Day game. They still lost by an average of 20 points per game. That did not make a difference. So coming into the Cleveland series, Golden State is already banged up. Stephen Curry has been injured twice before this series. He got injured twice in the first round, I believe, with that ankle injury and then that freak accident MCL sprain that could have been a lot worse. As a matter of fact, it looked worse. So right off the bat, Curry doesn't seem 100%. But then you add the problem in game 5 of Andrew Bogut going down with a knee injury. Now, it was one thing for Curry not to be performing at his MVP level because they had the team to withstand that. That's part of the reason they were so dominant over Cleveland in the first place. They were just that deep. But then you get rid of the rim protection of Andrew Bogut and now the entire series changed. I don't know about you guys, but watching that series, I could literally pinpoint the moment that Bogut went down. It was just such an open paint for everybody to go into for Cleveland. That changed absolutely everything. That gets further compounded by the fact that Andre Iguodala has back spasms by the time he gets to game 7, so now Golden State is dealing with a slew of injuries and Cleveland is pretty much completely healthy. Cleveland goes on to complete the comeback, win the NBA championship, and then Golden State fans say Curry was hurt, Bogut was hurt, and Iguodala was hurt. And then Cleveland fans say stop making excuses, it doesn't matter, next man up. So this is the reason why I say there's some hypocrisy going on in this argument, and this is why I ask if injuries are a legitimate excuse or a legitimate reason for losing a series or a season not going the way it's supposed to, because both sides are using it, and when you look at it, both sides have legitimate points. There's no way you can convince me that a Cleveland Cavalier team in 2015, as depleted as they were as talented as the one that was supposed to face Golden State, and there's also no way you can convince me that this Golden State team was the one that actually won 73 games, because I saw the difference, it was clear. Now, a popular argument with this series, specifically for Cleveland and Golden State, is to say that, well, Cleveland's injuries were more significant. They were missing 2 all-star players compared to the Warriors. They still had their players on the floor, and they were really only missing Andrew Bogut to that injury. But that's where I say you absolutely can't downplay the impact that Andrew Bogut had in that Cleveland series, because his defense down low made it very, very hard for Cleveland to have any kind of advantage over Golden State. They weren't really deeper than them, and when the inside scoring wasn't really going well, that's why they were losing by 20 points a game. So at the end of the day, what you're left with is a rivalry that has essentially been, I don't want to say ruined, but heavily handicapped by both squads not being healthy when it matters most. But let's get off of Cleveland and Golden State, because they aren't the only teams that have suffered with this kind of impact of injuries. As I said at the beginning of the video, it's really popular to just say man up in any sport, whether it's basketball, football, next man up. You can't use injuries as an excuse because they happen to everybody. But at that same token, everybody uses injuries as the reason that they lost when they have a clear and present effect on the series or whatever game they're talking about. And I guess that's the reason I'm making this video in the first place, because I'm trying to find out if you can see the impact, and it's clear that injuries do impact these series in a way, then why can't you use them as a reason why you lost? I'd like to talk about Kobe Bryant's last healthy season with the Lakers, because this is also another good example for this video. So I don't know if you guys ever seen the meme where LeBron and Kobe fans are arguing with each other, and there's this meme that points out the fact that Kobe Bryant lost with Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, and Pau Gasol. They say that, he didn't make the playoffs with that, so how can you ridicule LeBron James for playing on super teams? But I always find that interesting, because I feel like people who use that meme didn't actually watch the 2013 season, because if you did, you know that Lakers starting lineup barely ever got a healthy game in with each other. Gasol, Kobe's injury didn't happen until like the last game of this, or one of the last games of the season. But before that, Gasol, Howard, and Nash all suffered injuries before that, and Dwight Howard really came to that team unhealthy. He was never the prime Dwight Howard that he was in Orlando. He coming off the back surgery, he was never his former self. So it's kind of odd that you use that as a point to say Kobe Bryant lost with so much talent when that talent really never got together because of injuries. And then that leads right back to what this video is about anyways. Are injuries a legitimate excuse for that? Because, well, you guys saw it, the torn foot for Gasol, the back for Howard, the injured leg for Nash, and then the Achilles tendon rupture for Kobe. Well, the injuries happened. They clearly affected LA that year. I think I could get a lot of people to agree with me on the fact that if these 4 just came together healthy like they were supposed to, you have the prime Orlando Howard playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, and they're all healthy, that team does not lose very many games. Hell, we can even take this back to the year 2009. Injuries are basically what took apart what should have been a Boston dynasty. The first year they got together, they won the championship relatively simply, and then Kevin Garnett got injured the next year, and this comes after he was the defensive player of the year before that. That totally changed Boston's fortunes. They didn't have him in the playoffs, they lost to the Orlando Magic, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that would say that Orlando Magic team would have beaten the Celtics if Kevin Garnett was there. So I could go on forever with this. I'm not going to make this a 20-minute video giving you an example of every time an injury altered a series. I'm just simply going to float the question out to you guys now. Are injuries a legitimate excuse for losing at all, whether it be series, whether it be a game, or whether it just be for a team's failure in that season period? Are they a legitimate excuse? You guys all watch basketball, you know the facts, you've probably used the injury excuse before, so don't come here and lie if you have used it, because I'm pretty sure you have. So make sure to leave your comment in the section below. I'm going to read through as many of them as I can. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, make sure to hit the bell next to my name, because that's the only way you're going to see my videos in the notification box. I'm Dom2K, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.